Let's bring in someone who's been around politics for a while. It's our friend Michael Reagan joining us. Mike, we welcome you back to Newsmax TV. And a challenger has to attract attention. J.D. Winteregg has done this with this web ad.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he has. And he's got you talking about it. He'll have other people, in fact, talking about it. And he's got a lot of great humor in it. And it's probably going to raise his visibility, but will it ever raise his visibility enough to unseat Speaker Boehner in Ohio?
And will it do it in a good way, though? That's what I'm wondering.
Well,
raise his visibility.
Say that again now?
Yeah, would it like also work against him? Because some women may not take lightly to that particular ad.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, when you do something of that nature, you're taking a chance. But when your name is J.D. Winteregg, the fact of the matter is, you've got to draw attention to yourself in some way. And, in politics, even bad attention is good if they know how to check the box and write your name on Election Day.
Well, Michael, you bring up another point about the dynamic with Speaker Boehner's district there in Hamilton, Ohio. In the final analysis, certainly the Speaker is going to have a well-financed campaign. Certainly he'll be able to run his own ads, and I guess when push comes to shove, the people of Hamilton will have to say, now wait a minute, do we really want to bring home the Speaker of the House of Representatives? And especially, we haven't seen the Boehner spots yet, but this shot across the bow does get attention. Whether Winteregg has the financing to get past a moment like this, I guess we'll see in the days ahead.
Well, but the other side of the coin, JD, is who's really seeing the ad? It's a social media ad, which is not where the Republican Party lives. I mean, the Republican Party's doing classes right now on the use of smartphones because they don't even know how to push the button. They don't know whether they're going to take a burst, whether they're going to be photobombed. They're having to learn how to get into the 21st century. So the people are going to be seeing that, will laugh and they'll chortle and what have you. But those who pull the lever on Election Day, those Republicans, most of them aren't in that 21st century social media and will probably pull it for Speaker Boehner.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I'm thinking back
when
we had Matt Kibbe here on the set with us talking about some of these Tea Party groups and small organizations around the country and moms that have bigger reach, more engagement with their audience than local Republican parties. So I don't know if it's fair to say, Mike, that Republicans can't find social media, because I know in at least the Tea Party wing of the party that there's a lot of engagement on social media, and I think we saw that as well with the ranchers as well out in Nevada when they rallied a bunch of supporters of the Bundys to come out there and join.
Special events, things that right. But the Tea Party is what showed up, and they are outnumbered by rank and file out there on Election Day. So they're going to show up, but will they outnumber the rank and file that are going to vote most likely for, in fact, Speaker Boehner? You find the Tea Party, many of them are more youthful than the Republican Party in general, and they will be in social media. But by and large, the Republican Party still has got to be trained in the use of smartphone technology and social media and what have you. Many of them don't have a Twitter account. I'm at Reagan World is my Twitter account. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to get into that if you're going to change the dynamic through the whole party, and right now it's only changing one segment of the party.
And the other thing is the whole use of humor and singe but don't burn. Your dad had a great example of that. In fact, it's appropriate to today. Quoth Ronald Reagan, "The problem is Democrats think every day is April 15th, and Republicans think every day is the 4th of July." That's a gentle nudge that reinforces a point about one party's proclivity toward taxation. The Reagan style, Michael, in terms of agreeing or disagreeing without being disagreeable, with the Tea Party now and some of the intra-party conflicts, even as your dad took on a sitting incumbent president back in 1976, what do you think was the difference there? Was it centered on issues? Did it get personal? How can intra-party conflict be managed successfully to have a debate and then have a unification before November?
Well, the reality is my father always, in fact, went out and supported the nominee of the party, Gerald Ford included in that, as my sister Maureen and I went out and campaigned for Gerald Ford after the convention in 1976. My father ran against an appointed president of the United States, not an elected president of the United States, and it was never a mean-spirited campaign. It was never personal. It was truly about issues my father thought were important, issues that Gerald Ford thought, in fact, were important. I think today, though, that there's almost to an extent too much media, and everybody's trying to fill their spot, and so there's a lot of politicians that sound like J.D. Hayworth, sound like Mike Reagan, sound like talk radio hosts instead of like politicians, and they do stupid things. Bevan in Kentucky going to a cockfight to talk about states' rights. You have Tim Donnelly running for governor of California. He's going to lose. 70% of the vote's going to go to Jerry Brown. He's going to be lucky to get 19%. Tim Donnelly walks into a airport in Orange County with a gun and says, "Hey, I've got Second Amendment rights to carry a gun."
So
well,
what needs to happen?
Or you
So
have
what
Steve
needs to
Stockman.
happen?
Well, what needs to happen is at some point, you've got to sit there and weed out some of the wackos within your own organization. Say, listen, we just can't support that. We can't support Steve Stockman saying, I'll send you a barf bag if indeed you send me $10 to unseat John Cornyn in Texas. If you're going to have a Tea Party with people like Ted Cruz or Mike Lee or whatever, have that. But the wackos that are in it, the kooks that are in it, you guys just weed them out because they are giving your area Tea Party a really bad name.
Well, a guy who's got a good name and a good grasp on political happenings is our friend Michael Reagan. Michael, we thank you for weighing in from California. And I guess we will make a pledge to keep lampshades off our heads and tell some of our friends in the movement to avoid tinfoil as well. I think that's a point well taken. And Michael, we thank you very much for your time.
Thank
He
you.
was saying they shouldn't sound like you, right?
No, he was saying J.D. Hayworth, Michael Reagan, and then he pointed out some cases that were out there. I'm so glad you gave me a chance to put the right spin on it.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go. We'll be back with more right after this.